All right, so the topic for this week's Amuna Mondays was the root between indecisiveness and impulsivity. So I was trying to over the holiday think about something, that definitely connects to the previous holiday of Passover as well as the time in between from Pesach to Shavuot. It's like the whole aspect of taking on upon getting out of that victim mentality, and we're becoming an individual new nation that's our own and this and that. So I was like, okay, what kind of topic I guess can we work on? So I came up with this topic, and the reason is because what's the connection? I feel the connection is that there was a lot of indecisiveness resulting in a lot of Jews not leaving Egypt. It states that a lot of Jews did not leave Egypt. They actually stayed. Why did they stay? They were stuck in that victim mentality of you know what? Yeah, we're getting beaten. Yeah, we're slaves, this and that. But at the end of the day, we know we know what's coming. And this and that. And again, indecisiveness. They were overthinking it super hard to the point where they couldn't make the decision and they end up staying. And then there's the aspect of where's the impulsivity come in? The impulsivity comes in at the Mount Sinai, when they were about to be getting the Torah, and Moses goes up and he stated 40 days and 40 nights, and I guess the Jewish people counted wrong. They were a couple hours off, or 12 hours or something, supposedly. They were a couple hours off, and they had so much fuel built up on them because they just witnessed all these miracles. They just saw the splitting of the sea. They saw all this stuff that they were oh, if something didn't come in, if something doesn't happen the way that we're used to things happening, the impulse is, the first thing that comes in is oh, let's worship an idol. Why? Because they were just victims in Mitzrayim for all this time. And it's just default came in. Even logically, it makes absolutely no sense. How are you serving a golden calf after you witnessed all of that? And that just shows, again, most impulse things don't make sense. There's not a logical explanation behind it. And so the root of both of those is indecisiveness comes from overthinking, and impulsivity comes from a lack of thinking. You didn't think enough. They jumped the gun, or they hit a road bump and they're just you know what, okay, there's too many factors, there's too many things, I'm just going to cover what I know and that's it, and then make a decision based on that. As opposed to impulsivity, most of the people, when it comes to indecisiveness, most people already know the answer they're searching for. Indecisive people know the answer they want, but the fact is they're too busy overthinking it and overthinking it and overthinking it, and you can see how that at the end of the day you're missing out. They miss out on a lot of opportunities, a lot of things that come up. And it's a super tough thing, and it's the obvious question is how do you counter it? How do you counter indecisiveness, and how do you counter impulsivity? And the way that I feel it is when it comes to impulsivity, it's more of give it some more thought. And when things are not going to the way that you can understand it, or you feel like you're hitting this road bump and you feel it's not, have somebody you can talk, you just talk it out, vent it to somebody, and just by putting it out there and wording it a certain way, or even hearing their response, it will get your brain operating on a different wavelength. That will get, you'll actually factor in all these different things that you never factored in to begin with. And as opposed to indecisiveness, you already know the answer. It just comes down to self-honesty. And the truth is, a lot of people nowadays don't have that. They don't have that trust in themselves because they feel like they've messed up so many times in the past, where there was I really thought this was the right decision, but it was wrong. And it caused this and this. And now it's they second guess themselves and then third guess them. And it's they just nonstop don't trust themselves, resulting in them way overthinking and being stuck in that stage of just not being able to do anything. They can't decide on anything because they can't factor it all in. So what's the counter to that? I guess multiple people suggested it in the class, and I think it's a great idea, is start putting yourself in a position to just make simple decisions where you can start building that inner trust back with yourself. Because it really comes down to a lack of trust in yourself. You don't trust yourself to make the decision. And that also goes for impulsivity to an extent. Impulsivity, mostly it's coming from the aspect of they're not really factoring in everything, because whether it's too much or it's not, oh my God, like I really have to factor all this, it's screwed, I'm just going to do it. And then again, impulse. And a lot of those things can be avoided. And impulse, I feel like, is more of like, like if we're talking income, impulsivity is more drawn to people not having options. So less fortunate people, let's say there's not that many options. Like, what are we eating today? We're eating chicken. Why are we eating chicken? Because that's what we can afford. Impulse, boom, that's it. As opposed to indecisiveness, it's like, oh my God, there's 30 things on this menu. What do I order from? Do I want fish? Do I want chicken? Do I want meat? Do I want rice? When you have so many options, it's so simple to become indecisive. And that's the thing nowadays is there's options everywhere. What social media platform to use, who to go out with, what to eat, what gas to get, who to follow, what TV, what song does. There's so many choices. There's more choices in nowadays than there ever was in history, because everything's at your fingertips. The choice is right there. It's like, oh my gosh, there's so many options. And that leads you to just overthink, because you can't think of all the possibilities and all the reactions from all these various things, resulting in you just not being able to decide. So one is the struggle of having too many options, and the other one is the lack of options. So the goal is to not to counter one. Don't go in with the mindset of, how do I eliminate impulsivity, or how do I eliminate impulsivity and indecisiveness. Like, how do I do it? Don't look at it in a way of you're eliminating either one. You're not. It's a sense of balance, because you need both. You need, like, and the example we used yesterday was when you go to a doctor's office, and those old time, like those, I don't think consider it old time. Those non-electric scales, you hop on the scale, they move it to the 100 meter, then they move it to the 50, and then they're slowly tapping it away, finding out your weight, whether it's 175, so you're going to tap it past the 20, move it back. And the thing is, it's trial and error. Eventually you're going to find that balancing weight that's like, oh, that's your weight. And it doesn't matter if you can be a doctor for 40 years, practicing for 40 years, weighing patients every single day of your life. You're always putting them on, they're going on the scale, and you're moving it back, you're moving it forward. You're not just putting it, taking it, and like, boom, deciding it, oh, this is what you weigh. It's not like that. It's a trial and error process. And it's the exact same way with life. And when you understand that we're not looking to eliminate anything, it's simply a balance. That, yeah, there's, you're going to overuse indecisiveness sometimes, and sometimes you're going to overuse impulsivity, or you're not going to be impulsive where you were meant to be. It's, again, trial and error, but eventually you'll get to that point. And yeah, so like we might be talking about this on a way deeper level next week. I still haven't decided, but I appreciate you guys tuning in, and hope you actually get something out of it and learn about it, and can somehow figure out a way to apply it. And if you need any help, by all means, just feel free to reach out. Have a good one.